I'm Chef Ed Villarreal, the host of Homegrown Chef, a new culinary series featuring local chefs, local food, local libations, and as many edible inspirations as we can find here in San Antonio's ever-evolving culinary world. Here we are back in the newly renovated Witte Museum, and we're taking inspiration from Miss Ruth Wimberly and her dorroir and injera bread. Now, when I saw her making this dorroir, it really reminded me of a dish that I haven't really had since I was a kid. And it was something my mom used to make at home, and it was just really good, really warming, makes me remember being a kid, makes me remember being at home. And what it's called is chicken tinga. Now what it is, it's the same type of stewed chicken. I like to use chicken breast. But when we stew this in chicken stock, tomatoes, onions, a little chipotle, just a little heat in the background. So let's get started. First thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to take our tomatoes, slice them up, and get them roasting inside of the pan. Now we can do everything on the pan. We don't need the oven. Some people want to use the oven, but it's unnecessary. And there's that most important sound. So we're going to allow these to pick up lots of color for that roasted background essence. Now, when Ruth was making her dish, she was using ingredients like smoked paprika, turmeric, the clarified butter, things like that. But what we did is we mounted all of those things into the chipotle and adobo. That way those flavors are already here, and once we add everything in together, it'll be incorporated into the dish. Now, while our tomatoes are cooking and browning over here, we're gonna wanna add some of the onion, some of the garlic. And all these flavors and smells, it just always reminds me of being back home. I'm always gonna revert to being back home because that's where I remember having the best meals, is at home. Watching Ruth cook, I've never experienced Ethiopian cuisine. So watching her cook was really interesting because, I mean, when we get down to the bottom of it, a lot of our society, a lot of our cultures, we're all doing the same thing, you know, slowly stewing meats, slowly cooking things. And I like the whole communal feel, how she set it out in front of the table and how everyone got to enjoy a piece by just reaching in, grabbing some bread. It just all reverts back to just being really homey, real safe, you know, makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel at home. You know, it's just really nice, really wonderful. I enjoyed the spice her food had. That was really nice. And it's just a big melange of flavors going on. Everything from you could taste the onions, the chicken, you could taste the turmeric, you could see the beautiful color happening. Now we've got all this happening right here, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add our chicken stock just to swivel it up a little bit. We're gonna add a little oregano. So now we're gonna add a little bit of tomato sauce just to enrich the color and add a little more body to the sauce itself. And on our next episode, which will be the really interesting one, you're gonna get to see all the chefs that you've seen so far. Plus you get to see all of their dishes and all the twists that I've done on their dishes. And we'll be having this beautiful dinner where everyone gets together, San Antonio VIPs, a few of our friends, maybe some of our family. It'll be a good time. So we can see that when we look here closely, just like when Ruth was making her dish, how her sauces were starting to condense and starting to get nice and thick, it's already starting to happen here by itself. We're just using the tomato and the body from the adobo and the body from the tomato sauce to make it thick. So we're just gonna run this down just a little bit more, add a little bit more chicken stock, add a little bit more salt, and we're gonna get this into the blender. Before we go to the blender, we're gonna have to add some of the lime juice. And we're gonna save half a lime from the end. So just squeeze all the juice right in there. I think my favorite part about cooking is making the mess. I know you see juices and stuff going everywhere. That's part of the fun. Now, I don't know if y'all have ever had or you've ever had chicken tinga, but this stuff warms like your soul. Like I said, it just always takes me back to being a little kid and smelling all these things going on in Mom's house. And you know, the way dorroir was the national cuisine for Ethiopian. I'm not gonna call this a national cuisine, but I am gonna say everybody's family, everybody does it a little different. This is the way, like I said, I like to do it with the oregano and the lime juice and the fresh tomatoes and everything. But it's something found pretty common here in town. You can find it at most of your smaller Mexican restaurants. But my idea is to bring it into a little higher end and hopefully make this work out more. So more people get to know what we're doing here. More people get to know and see what we do here in San Antonio. So now we've already got some stuff going into our blender. And if we take a look here, you can see everything's nice and stewed and real pretty. And you can definitely smell all that turmeric coming up. You can smell all that paprika coming up, you know. I know that those were the ingredients used for her Ethiopian cuisine, but I think they blend in so well, especially since, again, we're using that chicken, you know, we have the tomato going on. It just ties in so really well. You get the sweetness, the earthiness, the smokiness all happening at the same time. And, you know, I just gotta thank her again for reminding me and bringing this dish back into my head, because it's just been so long since I've had this. Here I go making a mess again. It's the pans, they're just ridiculously heavy. So we're gonna get this over there and we're gonna get this blended up, and while that's blending up, we're gonna go ahead and cut up our chicken and sear off our chicken. This is really gonna get all the flavors mixed in together. Really, really get it going. This will crush everything, emulsify everything, pure everything, get everything into one nice tight flavor. So we'll let this sit for a second. And in this pan, the same exact pan, I want to drop my chicken in it one more time. I just wanted to pick up all the leftover flavors, you know. I wanted to pick up all the charred tomato. I wanted to pick up everything. And we're just gonna cut the chicken up into maybe 1/2-inch little pieces. Goes. And I'll forever say, I wish you could smell this. You know, we've got a lot of things happening in San Antonio, especially with the team I'm part of, you know, the Chef Cooperative team. You know, we try and support our local vintners, our local ranchers here in South Texas. You know, we source local, we grab from them, we use their product, you know, just like our chicken that we have here coming from Parker Creek. You know, without these guys out there, we couldn't make things possible. So we reach back and we help back, you know, to make sure that they can keep doing what they're doing so we can keep doing what we do. And right here we can see Parker Creek's beautiful chicken getting nice and golden brown. So many things are being done differently with our food nowadays that I think it's highly important we get to meet these farmers who are raising our food, who are raising the pigs, who are raising the cows, who are raising these chickens. And we get to talk to them directly and build a relationship with these guys, because, you know, it's important to have wholesome food, what we're putting in our body. And here we go, adding all the real love to this dish. Now, a lot of sauce came, and I'm not going to use all of it, but there it goes. And what we're going to do is we're going to allow this to stew till the chicken's nice and tender. So now we've got our wonderful tinga working right over here. And when Ruth did her dish, she was using an injera bread, fermented bread, really nice, really wholesome. What I wanted to do is I wanted to do bread, but I wanted a tortilla. So the closest thing I could figure was the big smash in between them both, which is gonna be naan bread. Indian bread, flour, yeast, I just love this stuff. I don't even know how else to put it, I just love naan bread. So we're gonna take our little ball, roll it out, and we're gonna make it right here in the cast iron. Normally, people wanna make it inside of an oven, on a really, really super hot flat griddle, you know, but I think cast iron will work just the same. I mean, Grandma made tortillas on a cast iron and they came out great, so. Drop a little flour, roll it out, drop it right into the pan. And even this, God, you know, I sit and I cook, and everything, almost everything I do, just reminds me of of being little. It always takes me back to being like 5, being 10, and you know, watching my mother, watching my great grandmother cook, you know. And I can remember when my grandmother came out one day and she was like, "Okay, that's it. I'm not making tortillas anymore." And the whole family stopped. And we were like, "What? How can you not make tortillas anymore?" You gotta remember, she used to make them by the ton, like I'm sure everybody's grandmother did. I mean, you're talking dozens. I mean, this is one and it's really thick, and grandma's stack would sit like this high for dinner, you know, so. I couldn't imagine cooking at the extent or the amount that she used to cook for everybody, you know. But here we go. This is the best circle I can roll because I never became a tortilla expert. So we're pretty close though. It's round. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna add a little bit more oil to the outside of it, and then we're gonna drop it right into that cast iron, and we should have our nice little naan bread. That's good. That's better than I thought. That's good. Now, tortillas are usually just a little flour, a little lard, some baking powder, hot water. Naan bread actually contains yeast. This bad boy actually has yeast inside of her, and she rises. So you make your dough, you let it rise, you punch it down, you let it rise, you punch it down, you let it rise. And you do that about twice, 3 times, just to make sure that the gluten's built up real nice, which this one is, you can see. She's nice and stretchy. And it gives it more, the yeast in there gives it more of a bready feel. We're gonna drop a little garlic on the outside of it just to give it a little extra flavor. Spread that around. That way when you turn it over, that garlic's gonna really cook into the bread itself. And if we come back over here and we take a look at everything, everything's still nice and simmering real nice. And that the white meat chicken, you know, it cooks up quick and it cooks up tender. You know, and again, I have to say it's because of the way it was raised. I have to say it's because of the way they treated it. You know, when you buy, we'll say commercial chicken from the store, that stuff cooks up and it's not as tender, it's not as juicy, it won't hold the flavor as heavy. I mean, in my opinion, you know, I just really, really appreciate when people have taken time to raise this animal right, to treat this animal right, so that we can enjoy this animal right. Now we can see over here, when we look in here and we see all these little bubbles popping and bubbles happening, that's a good sign. And we can see that the breads, oh yeah, there he goes. Another little toasting. Yes. That's good. And we'll drop a little bit of garlic on this other side as well. It just smells good already. Again, why aren't you here to smell this? The exciting thing about what's going on here is I get to experience these chefs. You know, the things that I've been seeing and things that I've been learning, I haven't really cooked before, but they open up my mind, they open up my senses. You know, I get to see the different aspects and different things that people are out there doing. Look, see, it's almost like a tortilla. And I get to go back and try and incorporate my San Antonio world back into that food. And you'll hear me say that often. I think it's so important that we keep bringing our San Antonio flavors up and out so people can see and experience more of us. See, look at this. Oh, it's tomatoey, it's got the stew going on, it's got a beautiful thick sauce. You know, we've got fresh onion, cilantro to go right over the top of it. Basically what we're doing is we're making this chicken tinga naan bread taco. And who doesn't like tacos? So, our naan bread's ready. The chicken tinga looks ready. It smells ready. And we've got all the stuff we're gonna need to put this dish together. So, let's put it together. So we're gonna come over here. And so as not to make so much of a mess again, we're gonna slide this over. And bring this down. And we're gonna drop this right on top. Oh God. I'm sorry, I just wanna eat it already. So we got the beautiful pieces of chicken breast. You can see the sauce just takes over, ties to the meat, holds onto it really, really well. And you know, when Ruth was explaining the Dora Wat, I was so unfamiliar with the cuisine that I didn't even know how to eat it. I just saw it sitting on this huge flatbread. And she was like, well, it's communal. You know, everyone's supposed to sit around the table, enjoy it, be a family, talk, and enjoy the food together. So that's why it reminded me of like a really big taco. So that's why I wanted to do this so bad. You know, the only extra thing that I really want to do to this is I want to add a little onion, because you can't have a taco without onions. A little cilantro, because again, you can't have a taco without cilantro. I can't anyway. And then because you have so much spice, now the chipotle is hot, you know, depending on your tolerance level, I think my tolerance level is like jalapeno. Once I reach jalapenos, I'm like, I'm done. I don't want any more. It's hot enough. In order to contrast that spiciness from that chipotle, which is just a dried out smoked jalapeno, I'm gonna add a little bit of fresh mango to it. And you have to do it just like that. And there. That's the chicken tinga and mango naan bread taco. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. I'm just excited. So take this little piece, grab this little bad boy here. Oh, yes. That's, excuse me for talking with my mouth full, but that's way better than I thought it was going to come out. The turmeric against the mango, against the smokiness, against everything happening. Wow. God, that's so good. I just want to keep eating it. So I'm going to let you guys go now. Ahí los vemos. And I'm going to enjoy my breakfast. Thanks.